Hey, I'm back. It's time to talk about how the day went before I go to sleep. So let's go ahead and do that. So, I had the day off today, and I have to say, it started off pretty meandering, not gonna lie. When I woke up, I got up at around 6 o'clock, and I greeted my mom, and she was tasked with taking our student out to school at around 8:30 because he had a late start today. Sorry, face was a bit itchy. So, before she left, we had a very nice breakfast. From what I can remember, I believe it was a health shake that consisted of apple cider vinegar, lemon, ginger root, and cayenne pepper and turmeric powder with water. Boy, let me tell you, when we drank that, it felt like there was a fire inside my gut. Whew! It was very shocking. So after we drank that, we went for a nice 15-minute walk around the neighborhood. Now, one of the things that I remember about this walk was how unhealthy I felt. I felt very self-conscious about um, how much fat I've accumulated. And so I decided to check my weight when we got home from our walk, and I have ballooned up to around 183.9 pounds. So, yeah, I've gained quite a bit of girth. Um, I mean, what's a good point of reference? To be honest with you, I think I've been in the 180 range for like at least a year and a half now. Um, I remember when I weighed like 148, I felt amazing, very light on my feet, very energized, no foggy brain, clear headed. It was great. And I'm definitely attempting to build up that motivation again. So, wish me luck. I'm going to push and fight back against my flab. In a healthy, sustainable way, of course. In fact, I was asking Google Gemini for advice, and it basically just boiled down to uh, put yourself in a 500 calorie deficit, eat nutrient dense, satiating whole foods that will keep you feeling full and will provide you with a lot of nutrients. And get a lot of sleep, get a lot of water, and get a lot of exercise. That's pretty much what it said. But it, of course, had to put in all these stipulations and rules and things that, like, sure are things that are nice to know, but ultimately just are details for the sake of details. And you can take them or leave them. Sure, they add a little bit of extra dimension to your health journey, but ultimately, what matters is just following the basic principles I listed out, and you'll be good to go. Just at the end of the day, you need a good motivation. Why do you want to lose that fat? Well, I'll tell you why. For me personally, I feel uncomfortable in my own skin. I feel like I'm walking around with too much baggage, and it's putting some stress on my body that I don't want to exist. So that's my main motivation. Well, anyways, then she left, drove the student. Now, when she left, I decided to go on my PlayStation 5 and look up the new games that were released for this month on PS Plus. Now, the game that actually looked the most fun to me was a Warhammer 40k game that had graphics that were very similar to like 1990s first-person shooters, very pixely and stuff. But I honestly find those games really charming because, the creators were doing what they could with what they had back then, and that ultimately meant that they had to focus more on level design than they did making the game look pretty. And ironically, because there was so much thought put into the level design, those games end up feeling a bit more immersive and interesting to me than a lot of the modern games that come out now, which feel like they have really basic level design, but have the best graphics ever. It's like I feel like we've lost something in the translation to our modern um, games, and I don't know. I just love that Wild West era of gaming from the 90s where just things were constantly evolving and changing, and you never knew what was around the corner with each new innovation. And now I feel like we're in a slump in gaming where things are just like, yep, here's another like extremely graphically dense but overall mediocre experience. Have fun. And it's kind of taken a lot of the interesting excitement from gaming for me. When I get excited for something now, it's usually because I think the gameplay looks interesting to me, or maybe the art style is something that catches my eye. I honestly prefer art style over graphical fidelity any day, anyways. Well, anyways, um, but instead, this is going to kind of be funny to say after I said all of that, but I noticed that there was this Ark Survival Ascended game that was available about you taming dinosaurs. I don't know, that concept sounded cool to me, and the game looked kind of neat, so I thought, I'll give this a shot. And then immediately after hitting the download button, I realized it was 150 gigabytes, and I checked my storage on my PlayStation 5. I only had 200 gigs left, so this thing was eating up a lot of my storage on this this console I own. So that wasn't really great. Oh well. Well, I deleted a game I wasn't playing anyways to make up for the storage. It was Sonic Frontiers, which was given for free for PlayStation Plus members. They might have been the PS Plus Premium. Anyways, so yeah, I was waiting for that to download, and while I was waiting for it to download, I decided to look up videos about it. Then I got in this little rabbit hole on one of my favorite YouTube channels, Digital Foundry, which I revisited one of their older videos talking about the Switch port of Ark Survival Evolved, and I just think it's pretty funny. It's cute, it's funny, it's interesting, because they thought they could port such a unoptimized game to such a low-powered platform, and they ended up getting something that was reminiscent of like N64 visuals. So, yeah, I mean, it was pretty funny. But then I watched the next video, which is the game was basically remade from scratch to accommodate for the Switch's lower specs to look and run much better. So it's nice the developers learned their lesson and realized that asking $50 for such a half-baked product was not something they should be doing. Well, anyways, after watching that, our family friend came from a doctor's visit. She is going to be getting surgery on her leg. Yeah, and she wanted me to look up a video about what the surgery is going to look like. I think it was like a tendon bone spur, and so we decided to look up a video. Someone was literally filming their own operation of getting their bone spur shaved off. And what made it freaky was the fact that there was no blood when the doctors were cutting open into the patient's leg. And in fact, my mom wasn't there to witness it, but I did show her later in the day. And my mom asked Google Gemini, and basically they use this special process where like they like stop the blood flow somehow to the leg, so that way when they cut open to operate on it, there's not going to be blood spurting in the face of the doctors, making it difficult for them to operate on the leg. So they practically have to keep stop blood from circulating for a brief period before, so they can operate. Um, yeah, I didn't know that. I learned something new today. And boy, oh boy, was that bone spur a tendon knee operation, or very graphic. It was like it should have had a content warning behind it, because wow, I watched someone's leg and uh, back of their foot get open, and it was freaky. Oof. Don't watch if you're squeamish. You know, when I first watched it, I was like, "Ooh, that's terrifying." But then, as the video played, I went from being disgusted and scared to being fascinated in a weird, macabre kind of way. Like, wow, look what they're doing and how they're helping this person out. And it made me get a new appreciation for doctors. Not gonna lie, those people go through a lot to alleviate people's pain and make their lives better. So, God bless our doctors. They take one for the team, and yeah, very grateful for that. Anyways, after that, I realized I needed to get our propane tank refilled because it ran out of propane. So, what I did was I needed to clean the surface of the propane tank off because there was a whole lot of animal fat all around it. So I took it outside in the front of our house, and I just scrubbed it with soap and water, and then I sprayed it down with our outdoor hose. And I just kept on doing that, rinse and repeat for about like 4 or 5 times until all of the fat and grease was gone, and the grill tank, propane tank, was fully clean, because I needed to transport it to the nearest refill station, and I didn't want to get animal fat on my car seat. So of course I was gonna clean it before doing any of that. But yeah, after that, went to the nearest refill station, but there was a problem. The guy denied my request for a refill of propane in the tank, and it was because the propane tank I brought was actually from the year 2000. Now, the thing is that the propane tank was bought by my dad, who sadly is no longer with us, and he kind of left it at our house, and we didn't really grill at all for such the longest time because we didn't really have a propane capable gas grill for a while. In fact, we didn't get one until we found a neighbor throwing one out, and then we took it, and then we bought the necessary supplies to fix it, and we kind of reverse engineered that propane tank to work with the grill to work with the propane tank. So yeah, that was cool. But now the tank ran out of propane, so we had to go and get refilled. But because the tank was so old, the guy wouldn't let me refill it. He told me though that luckily there was a gas station nearby that was literally just within walking distance, and he said that okay, all you need to do is take it in to the convenience store in the gas station, and then switch it out with a a brand new propane tank. The guy will help you out." So I was like, "Thanks." So I did that. And right before I entered, there was a guy who wanted, he was a homeless dude, was asking if I could get him a pack of smokes. And of course, I declined because I would not feel comfortable getting smokes on my debit card. I am not a smoker, and I never plan on being because that stuff destroys your lungs. Honestly, blows my mind that people still do it. I guess they think it looks cool, but it does more harm than good. But he even offered to get me food from the convenience store with his EBT card, and I said no, thank you. But as I was paying for the propane, I kind of felt a little bad for him. So I did pull out $10 from cashback, and I gave him a little $10 as like a little do what you want with that kind of thing. And I asked him to tell me about yourself, sir. And he basically told me that he lost his house, like he couldn't pay for it anymore, and he lost his job, and now he's like living off of EBT, and he's on the streets. Um, and then I said, "Whoa, that's a shame. I'm sorry about that, bro. I hope God can help you out." Um, and then I told him, "Yeah, I work. I'm like a courtesy clerk at a grocery store." And he's like, "Oh wow, how's that? How much does that pay? $20 an hour?" I'm like, "No, it pays like 16.60 an hour." It's like, "Well, okay. Well, it's not like those fast food jobs." And then I told him, "Well, basically, actually, $20 an hour for those fast food jobs is more of a curse than a blessing because not only does it make the food more expensive for the customer, it also just makes the manager's job a living nightmare because now they have to let go of staff in order to pay the bills and give the proper salary that's legally required of them. So people who maybe were just hired or didn't have enough experience, or there was a lot of people working in a fast food store, either their hours were cut to be non-existent, or they were making the same amount of money they were before, or they were let go. And yeah, it just was not the ideal situation. In fact, I know one of my coworkers actually used to work at a fast food place, but they chose to work at the store I work at because the benefits at the store far outweighed the amount they were making at the fast food place, and plus they weren't even making that much anyways because immediately when the $20 increase happened, the hours for that person was cut. So anyways, I told all that. He was like, "Wow, that's really interesting." I was like, "Yeah, I know." Well, anyways, God bless her. I hope that um, you find fulfillment in your life. And he was like, "Thanks, bro. You too." And I'm like, "Thank you." And then I drove all the way back home, and then I was about to put the propane tank back into the grill until I realized that there was just fat caked around the area that holds the propane tank. So I wiped that clean. And glad I did because that would have sucked. Now, when I hooked the propane tank in and turned it on to see if it was working properly, there was no gas coming out. So for a second, I thought to myself, wow, was I supposed to refill that after all that journey? Oh my gosh, that sucks. But luckily, I didn't give up there. I just tightened the connector a little bit, and I turned the valve of the propane tank a bit more, and then I started to hear the sound, and then I turned on the fire, and the propane tank was working like normal. Yay! And so I've got a good like 15 hours of use for that tank for the foreseeable future, which is awesome. Well, after that, what happened was that it was time to get the house Mother's Day ready. Um, so my mom arrived, and I decided to vacuum the floor while she was cleaning the restrooms and doing some laundry. And then I moved the chairs out of the kitchen. I brought on the broom to help her sweep the floors of the kitchen. Then I cleaned the pool vacuum out the back of our house. And then after that, what else happened? I put the chairs back after my mom was done mopping the kitchen floor. I helped squeeze some garlics out so she could prepare a delicious salad marinade for us. And then I got to work on my UFO video. Yay! I got some work done on a personal project. And let me just say, it was pretty rewarding. I enjoyed every minute of it. It was really cool putting sound effects into the video and seeing it come to life. It's really a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I love it. Well, anyways, I was only able to get the first 34 seconds of the video ready to go before it was dinner time. So we went out into the den, ate our delicious salads with green beans, honey mustard garlic marinade, spring mix, croutons, corn, tomatoes. Yeah, it was really good. And we were watching a brand new episode of the Y-Files that recently dropped about the Mantis Man. It's really a lot of fun. If you like paranormal stories and cryptids and aliens, all that supernatural mumbo jumbo, then you'll probably get a kick out of that Y-Files. Well, anyways, we watched that. I asked Mom, "What do you think the Mantis Man is?" And she said she thinks it's a demon. Well, anyways, and then she talked about how she thinks that my dad saw a demon when he was alive, where he saw this woman with scaly skin, and then her face transformed into a goat, and it freaked him out. Not sure if he was just tripping on something or if he really saw something, but interesting nonetheless. And same goes for the people who saw the Mantis Man. Well, anyways, it was time to get ready for bed, so I brushed my teeth, I took my vitamins, reverse that order, took my vitamins, brushed my teeth. I watched an interesting video about game graphics and how artistic direction is far more important than visual fidelity. And then I recorded this video that you are watching right now. And that is my day. Thank you for joining in. There's a few extra details I left out since I was watching listening to some health tips from Google Gemini. Also some alien stories from the channel Area 52 and also the channel Preston Dennett. But I didn't want this video to go on forever. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of your day and take care.